Hello, my friends. Today we're going to be reading a story called Magical Sea Creatures. Ooh, sounds like a good one. I'm excited to see what magical sea creatures we're going to learn about today. So here in our table of contents, it will tell us what kind of creatures we're going to learn about. The first page is going to be our introduction, and then we will learn about sea turtles, manatees, seals, starfish, octopus, clownfish, and stingrays. That's all kind of magical sea creatures. Here we have our introduction. For the longest time, the habits and homes of sea creatures were a mystery, because we didn't have access necessary to study them. Legends of sea monsters and terrifying destinations kept people in a state of fear, which led to senseless killings of animals like sharks. Now, thanks to marine biologists and oceanographers, we have learned that ocean animals are not only brilliant and beautiful, but they are necessary for maintaining the balance of our planet. For example, if people hunt and kill sharks and they become endangered, they are removing one of the key elements of the food chain. Fish that the sharks usually eat will begin to overpopulate the ocean, damage coral reefs, and drain the ocean of smaller ocean creatures. If coral reefs aren't thriving, the many animals lose their habitats and they too become endangered. It is crucial that we understand ocean animals, their habitats, and their homes. So that is exactly what we will strive to do. In this book, we will explore the groupings and habitats of several marine animals. The first one is sea turtles. My friends, we talked about turtles a lot last week, and here we are again talking about sea turtles. Sea turtles live by themselves and stay underwater for much of the day. This makes them very difficult to study. When turtles are in open water, they can sleep at the surface of the water. Baby sea turtles, or hatchlings, sleep floating at the top of the water. As you can guess, this makes them very vulnerable to predators. This is why the first 12 to 15 hours after they enter the water, they are rapidly swimming out towards the sea. The majority of their predators stay close to the shore, so hatchlings try to escape this zone quickly. Sea turtles migrate between breeding grounds and feeding zones. Scientists believe that the leatherback turtle has the longest journey of all the sea turtles. They travel from Asia to the west coast of the United States, an amazing 10,000 miles in search of jellyfish. Sea turtles rely on the moonlight bouncing off the water to help them navigate their way. Scientists also believe they have a special way of detecting the Earth's magnetic fields and feel pulled in certain directions. The ocean currents help them find their way too. Manatees. As is the case with many animals, humans are the largest threat to manatees. Manatees hang out in shallow water near the coast where they spend over half the day eating vegetation. Being so close to land and the fact that they move very slowly puts them in danger from boat propellers. Manatees live alone unless a female is nursing her young. The baby manatees will live off their mother's milk for a year and a half. The mothers and calves have also been observed playing a lot, just like humans. Even though they are large and cuddly looking, manatees have a very low body fat percentage. This means that they need warm waters for their body to function properly. In 2010, almost 250 manatees died in Florida because there was a colder than normal winter. Manatees are mammals, which means they go to the surface of water to breathe every few minutes. Christopher Columbus had journal entries that claimed to see mermaids swimming in the water. Based on everything we know now, it is likely that the crew saw manatees. Seals. Seals live in very large groups, so it may appear that their social structure is chaotic, but they all get along with each other quite well. Males are typically the leaders and more aggressive than females. Seals have been observed forming small groups within their large groups, somewhat like human friend groups. Seals will socialize and relax with their friends. Living in groups is one of the seal's ways of protecting itself from predators. When they are in the water, they are very fast and hard to catch. They also have several inches of blubber on their bodies that makes it hard for predators to take them as a meal. Seals are born with their eyes open and the ability to swim well. Mother seals will nurse pups for 4 to 6 weeks. They recognize their pups by smell and a special call that is meant just for their pup. It is very important that the mother bonds with her pup, because if she doesn't, she will refuse to nurse the pup and he or she will starve. After the nursing period, the female will not interact with her pup anymore. At this point, the young seal will be on its own to catch shrimp and eventually fish. Starfish. Don't be fooled by the name. The starfish isn't a fish at all. It's an invertebrate, which means it does not have a backbone. All fish have backbones. The starfish is related to sponges and urchins. Most starfish have 5 arms that are covered in suckers. The suckers help them to slowly creep along the ocean floor. Starfish live alone, do not take mates, or care for their young in any way. It takes a starfish about 2 years to develop into its adult form. The starfish has a fascinating way of eating. After it has found prey, clams, oysters, and snails are its favorite. Then its stomach will come out of the starfish's mouth and begin to digest the food. Small food will be swallowed whole. Starfish have a tough outer layer that makes them hard to eat. They also camouflage themselves against the coral or ocean floor. When a starfish's arms are cut off, their body can regrow them. Octopus. The octopus is a solitary creature that uses rocky caves as its home. Female octopuses take care of their eggs very carefully, making sure to blow water over the eggs in order to make sure that they get enough oxygen. After hatching, the tiny specks are all on their own. Scientists believe that octopuses only have a 1% chance of becoming adults. The octopuses can be seen creeping along the ocean floor or moving backwards through the water. When an octopus feels threatened, it will release a cloud of ink to confuse the predator. They are preyed upon by sharks, whales, and large fish. The octopus also protects itself by changing its color to match its surroundings. Kind of like camouflage, right? That's similar to the starfish. Clownfish. Clownfish live in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. They have a close relationship with the sea anemone that is quite fascinating. Although the anemone looks like a plant, it's actually a carnivorous animal. Clownfish do not have any way of protecting themselves, so they use the anemone as a shelter. This is a great choice because the anemone stings most other animals with its tentacles. The clownfish has a layer of mucus around it that keeps it from getting stung. The anemone benefits the clownfish by eating its extra scraps and receiving a good cleaning. Female clownfish will lay anywhere from 20 to 25,000 eggs at one time. After fertilizing the eggs, the males will guard the eggs until they hatch. Clownfish had a huge popularity spike at pet stores after the release of the movie Finding Nemo. The sad part about that is that their numbers in certain natural habitats decreased by 75% because of how they were captured. If you're planning on having a clownfish for a pet, make sure that you are able to be a responsible pet owner. Stingrays. Like its relative, the shark, stingrays do not have bones, but instead they have cartilage. To get a better understanding of cartilage, put your finger on the tip of your nose and press. Notice the difference between how your nose feels and the bones in your finger? Stingrays have flat bodies that allow them to easily bury themselves under sand for protection. Their mouths are on the bottom side of their bodies, which means they cannot see their food. Instead of using sight, stingrays rely on smell and electroreception to find food such as crabs, clams, oysters, and small fish. Stingrays are oviparous, which means the female has eggs, but they hatch inside her body, and then she gives birth to live babies. That's interesting. A female stingray will have between 5 and 13 pups at one time. Although pups are great swimmers right away, their mothers will provide some protection to them. Stingrays are considered adults after about 3 years. Our oceans are extremely diverse, beautiful, and complex. It is our job as humans to learn about them and protect them in order for many generations to enjoy their magic. My friends, did you know that this year, when Miss Barnes was 27 years old, was the first time that I ever got to touch a stingray? Because I went to the zoo for our biome night at the zoo, and I finally touched a stingray for the first time. That's true. Alrighty, my friends, make sure you read this. You might want to read it a couple times or listen to me read it a couple times before our meeting tomorrow, because we're going to have some questions about it tomorrow at our meeting before we do our directed drawing and writing our facts, okay?